I need your opinion because I can't think of a number one, but I can think of a lot of classic one liners that we've gotten within UFC history. And I'm going to give you today a few of my personal favorites that I think, kind of define the era, really have made its way into pop culture, and kind of define the fighter and the person. So I'm going to give you these different one-liners, kind of catchphrases, things like that. And I want you to rank them in the comments below and let me know which one you think is number one. Before we get into it, if you wouldn't mind, hit the like and subscribe button. Helps with the YouTube algorithm, helps grow the channel. Let's get started. So, a few classic ones. One of my absolute favorites, is when Dana White, and this was probably a decade ago by now, this is when Dana White was going off about, I think it was like some betting scandal. I don't even remember the entire context behind it, but he gives this he gives this speech about, someone placing a sports bet and this and that, and then he turns to the camera and he just goes, "That's fucking illegal," right? This is one of those things that I think people use can use in everyday life. It's one of those most memorable things from what Dana White has said. It's one of my personal favorites, and it makes me laugh literally every single time. Like, I watch that clip on and on and on and on. Another classic. Well, let's talk about something recent. Chama. Although Alex Pereira lost that fight to Magomed Ankalaev, so many people that I know who are MMA fans, who are UFC fans, I hear them walking around and just saying, "Yeah, Chama," right? I don't think any of us actually know what it means. Like, I've looked into it, and basically anything can be Chama, right? You can have good Chama, you can have bad Chama when things are good, Chama when things are bad. Chama. That's what he says. So, although he's not champion anymore, although Alex Pereira is not champion anymore, I think that phrase is kind of caught on. And for as long as he's still a big name within the UFC, I think Chama is going to be something that fans say all the time. Now, on a side note, what do you guys think is happening now? Do you think he's doing that immediate rematch with Ankalaev? Or do you guys think that he's going to be going ahead and moving up to heavyweight? Let me know. Oh, car. Oh, another car. So those are a couple. Another one, and as a Canadian, I'm a huge fan of Georges St-Pierre. I feel like the Canadian MMA scene has not been the same. Like, we got things early. We got basically the greatest of all time right up front, kind of when the sport was in its early days. And we haven't seen much since. We've got a few talents on the rise that are ranked and all these things, but GSP is the GOAT. Anyway, his whole thing, "I am not impressed by your performance." That's one of those lines that I hear people say all the time, right? Especially MMA fans. It's like, "Not impressed by that performance. I wasn't impressed by that performance." I'm not even sure they actually know who originated that saying. Like, the hardcore fans know, right? The hardcore fans know that was GSP. But I think kind of the newer fans and things like that, they've just heard people say it and they've started to say it too. So I think that's another iconic line. Pains me to say this, but the owner of probably some of the most iconic lines in the entire UFC history is probably Conor McGregor. He's got at least two that I love. Even though I'm not a huge McGregor fan, there's two. Oops, look at that. I'm in Oman, by the way. I'm going to be here for another 20 days. There's two that I really love. One, who the fuck is that guy? The way he timed that, the way he kind of said that, I think it was to Jeremy Stevens, right? Just completely dismantling him. Him trying to get on the mic, interrupt McGregor. He just turns around like, who the is that guy, right? Probably the most lowball insult you could give to somebody who's on a world stage. It's like, nobody even knows who you are, right? Absolutely love it. And then the other one that I love from the McGregor era, absolutely definitive, when he's just like, "Oh, I just want to take this time to apologize to absolutely nobody," right? Absolutely nobody. And he goes off And this was after, I believe, he won the double champ status. So champ does what he wants. As another iconic McGregor line that I hear people quoting kind of all the time. A couple others that I think kind of make the cut for me. Masvidal with his super necessary, right? Like when he knocked out Ben Askren, he hit him with a couple follow-up shots to make sure he was gone. The interview afterwards, he's like, do you think it was necessary to land those 2 other shots? You know, he was out cold, blah, 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 blah. And then, you know, he picks up the mic and he goes, yeah, you know, it was super necessary, right? Because my job is to hit him until he's done. And, you know, the ref didn't get there on time to pull me off. So that's another one where I'm kind of like, that was kind of a classic iconic line. It kind of sucks that we didn't get to see more out of Masvidal. Like, he kind of rose to superstardom right there, but he was kind of still at the tail end of his career there, and we didn't see all that impressive. Like, that fight with Askren and the fight with Nate Diaz are kind of like the 2 things that people remember. But beyond that, you know, just all that kind of like gangster and felon and hoodlum shit. I don't know, man. Some people like that, but it's not. That's not really what I like. I mean, I think you got a couple good lines from Chael Sonnen, right? Like, I think he might be the GOAT of the trash talk situation, right? But like, I can't let you get close to me. When you know, in the I think was it the Ultimate Fighter or Tough, when he's fighting with Wanderlei Silva, that was a pretty iconic one. The one where he was like, oh, the only person I know who's using opportunities is his ex-wife. That was a pretty classic, you know, one-liner there. But yeah, these are just a few. Like, are there any that you guys can think of off the top of your head? Anything that I should add to the list? Let me know in the comments, because, you know, thinking about these kind of one-liners, these things that it's just, these are things that, you know what it kind of is, right? Like, you know how companies have slogans and you know, just different things that are kind of memorable. It just makes you remember that fighter and remember kind of what was happening when it was said, all these things, and they can carry on into the future. And a lot of times you hear MMA fans just saying some of these one-liners like super necessary, I'm not impressed by your performance, Shama, whatever it is, you know. I got a couple from Strickland, maybe like, oh, calm down, Chinaman, or whatever. Like, so just some funny things, right? That make them memorable. Yo, you've got what's his name, Rodriguez. There was it Rodriguez, where he says Chihuihuis. I think that's kind of a dumb thing, but anyway, Raul Rosas Jr. That's what his name is. Raul Rosas Jr. Like, that's his catchphrase or whatever. But it just makes you kind of remember the fighters. It makes you remember the moments within their career. Just different things like that. And yeah, are there any that you could think of? Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe. We'll see you next time.